Hello there, and welcome to Healing the World Together. My name is Victoria Dio, and today I am joined by a very exciting guest, Alex Standley. Hello.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Now, you consider yourself a personal stylist, speaker, sustainable fashion expert who helps trailblazing women. I know that because I have been to one of your events. And you help them to align their wardrobe with their ambition. And you've got over 15 years experience in this.
Yeah, 20 years. So I was a fashion buyer prior to my business as a personal stylist. So I did that for 15 years.
Yeah.
I worked for brands like M&S and Amazon, so big global fashion brands. And then I pivoted into personal styling about 6 years ago, on the realization that the fashion industry was very much out of alignment with my values and the world that I wanted to leave behind for my daughter. So it was really for me about realigning my values with my purpose and creating a more positive impact with the work that I'm doing.
So that's really intriguing because I met you at your event, which was just incredible.
Oh, thank you.
The transformation of the women that you worked with was so clear to see. And it's making me think when you talk about your values and your purpose, what values are you talking of? So, do you want to just give us maybe a couple of those values? What values just were
Mm.
not aligned with?
So for me, it was I suppose I was quite lucky because I always knew that I wanted to work in the fashion industry. And for me, it really combined my love of creativity and expression and all of the kind of positive sides of fashion with business and economics and like the management side of things.
Yeah.
So that's why I went into buying in the first place. But it was basically when I fell pregnant with my daughter that I just had this realization that the kind of humanitarian impact and the environmental impact of the fashion industry were really out of alignment with my values because I'm all about integrity, honesty, authenticity, and essentially like having that positive impact on people and planet, which is definitely not what the fashion industry was doing at that point in time in the position in the role that I was in. Um, and I just had this kind of wake up call in this moment of falling down a rabbit hole on sustainability, on being pregnant and thinking about, what am I consuming and what am I putting on my body and in my body, being pregnant. And then that then translated into actually what am I doing in my day-to-day role? This is completely out of alignment with who I actually am and the impact that I want to create.
So then I go back to beginning. I know you've told us about so like a bit of how you started, but what was that one moment when you go, style is more than clothes and it's actually a force that shapes how people live?
So I was quite fortunate that in this kind of exploration stage of like, who am I now? What do I want to do now? One of my colleagues at Amazon, where I was working at the time, she said to me, why don't you just set up an Instagram account and, just for you, like just to have as a kind of creative outlet. And there's no expectations of where it's going to go, but just start it and see who you meet and, what you explore. So I did that and I connected with a personal stylist who trained other personal stylists who was amazing. And she was holding a workshop in London and I was really heavily pregnant and it was snowing and my husband was like, what are you doing? Like, why are you even going to this event? And I was like, no, I need to go to this. Like, I know what I'm doing. And anyway, I went to this event and I just fell in love with it because she kind of showed to me this whole other side of fashion and of style that really connected in with my values and with, making more of a difference because I think that was what was always missing from my role as a buyer.
Yeah.
Um, and it just kind of was like that missing piece of the puzzle that fell into place in understanding that actually style can be a really powerful tool for identity, for confidence, for transformation, for, supporting people through these big kind of life transitions. Um, and in having my daughter and that kind of postpartum um, identity crisis, for want of a better word, that I went through myself. That was when I retrained as a personal stylist, and I actually saw for myself like this is the power of it in, when you are going through one of these transitions in life, it can really support you to reconnect with who you are, how you want to show up in the world, the impact that you want to have through your work. Um, so I kind of lived and breathed it before I even took it out to the world and shared that with other women as well.
So were you at one point, and I don't want to say this, no offense, but were you sort of like less, what's the word? Less demonstrative in how you dressed before?
Yes, definitely. I think I think it's quite common for buyers to kind of dress to quite a
Black.
yeah, black, like neutral palette. And I wasn't like neutral. I did have color, within my wardrobe, but it was definitely a lot more conservative than it is now. And I think that's been a huge part of my journey and a huge part of like truly expressing myself authentically has been embracing, bolder colors and not being afraid to stand out. And, that's been a really amazing part of the journey for me. And then has also helped me to support other women to do the same because I think we so often tone ourselves down and shy away from being too much, too bold, too whatever. So I think all that lived experience has really helped me to support other women in the same way as well.
Yeah. Well, I hope I've done you proud today and stuff.
You have.
I've just realized that I'm wearing probably one of my brightest outfits, like really, really, really bright and what have you.
And I love the matching glasses with the dress as well.
Thank you, thank you. It's really funny. People think I've got a set of glasses for every outfit. I don't, but
You
and so
just know the colours.
yeah, 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 yeah. And a lot of it isn't intentional. These are just the pair of glasses that I can find right now on my desk. That's the honest truth. So yeah. Now, I want to talk a bit about your event because your event made me want to really get to know you and talk to you a bit more because it was incredible. For people who were unfortunate to miss the event, um, first and foremost, do you want to tell us about it and stuff and what the purposes of it was and what came out of it? And also, are you going to be doing any more? Because I definitely think you should do more.
Yeah, so it was called Style Trailblazers, and it was basically the opportunity for six women to go through a transformation, but not only go through that transformation, but to also have it documented. And so they went through a style transformation with me over a few sessions, and we created this kind of personal brand or signature style for each of these women. And each of them were trailblazers. So they're doing something very different within their industry, trailblazing a new um, paradigm or like a new way of creating in their industries. And we then documented that with a personal branding shoot with an amazing photographer. And they then also got an opportunity to be featured in Brand New magazine as well to talk about their mission and their story and what they're here to do. And then the images that we had documented were then put up in a gallery space. And these six women hadn't seen the photos before this event, and I think that was quite a what's the word, stretchy concept for a few of them. to really put their trust in me and in Steffi, the photographer, as well, to not see those photos before they were shown kind of publicly, albeit, quite an intimate event.
Mm.
And then they got the opportunity to talk as a panel of 6 women about, again, about their mission, about their experience of getting more visible and going through the styling process. And as you said, it was so amazing to hear like the beautiful feedback that we got on the evening of
Yeah.
the space that we'd created and how women felt about that, and that we need more spaces like that.
100%. The First and foremost, the women in the audience were just so different. Like
Mhm.
everybody, there was nobody who you could say, "Oh, you're in my tribe," or "You're in my tribe." Like everybody just came from different walks of life, which was amazing.
Yeah.
The women on the stage are doing incredible things on this earth anyway.
Mm.
And they were all different shapes and sizes. I
Yeah.
love the fact that you had some tomboys in there and stuff.
Yeah.
And and the pictures, oh my God, Steph, who took the photography and stuff, was just like the pictures were stunning. Like,
Mhm.
oh my God. And the venue,
Yeah, it's
like,
gorgeous, isn't it?
oh my goodness. I don't know if you remember the tower outside,
Yeah. It
every
was such a great backdrop.
oh my goodness, everything was just beautiful. But the way these women spoke about their stories. And I'm sure I cried from one woman. I can't remember who it
Oh.
was. Yeah, I'm sure there was one person who spoke and I cried. But what was really interesting was that a lot of them gained confidence and not just confidence in the word confidence. They actually felt confident enough to do something different. Like a lot of them were doing
Mhm.
different things. Like they started doing different things in their lives from clothes. And I think I take my clothes for granted. I have my dresses
Mm.
made. I like I, I go with, so I use my intuition to choose my clothes.
I
So
love that.
yeah, so I'm very much it's a whole process. And when my clothes speak, when the material speaks to me,
Mm.
then I will purchase the material and then get it made. So it's a whole process.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's a whole process for me. And I think I take that for granted because I have such amazing people who make my dresses
Mm.
that I don't think about the confidence that it just is. Like I walk into a room and I know I'm owning it because I know
Yeah.
I know I look amazing and I've chosen the outfit. I'm not wearing something that somebody has decided should suit me because it fits me.
Yeah.
I'm
And
very
it's so
much
you.
yeah, I'm very aware of it. But when I came to your event, I was very aware of how much I took in for granted how I dress because I was like, it's not easy for everybody.
No.
A lot of people, there were people who said to you, I'm not going to wear dresses. I'm going to stick with trousers.
Mm.
Oh, I'm a size this and I don't go above that. And then
Yeah,
realizing that actually a couple of sizes bigger means nothing. It's just what suits you.
absolutely.
Yeah. So from one woman to another, I just want to say thank you because for me, it was a humbling moment because I've taken something that I've done for almost 2 decades, if not three, for
Mm.
granted. Like I just have things made for me. I just take it as, well, I'm just going to get it made for me, and I don't have to think about it.
Mm.
I mean,
But that to me is what true confidence in your style is,
mm,
because I think that's where it should get to, and hopefully that's where those women are heading now.
mm,
Because it should be such a natural like reflection of like an outer expression of who you are,
mm,
that it doesn't require like all that endless, overwhelm and decision fatigue and overthinking and all the states that we get ourselves in because we have so many conflicting opinions and so much, running on script in our minds from societal conditioning and things that people have told us over the years. And I think the truest expression of our style is like you said, when you can really listen to your intuition and reconnect with who you are as a person. And then it's fun and it's playful and it's joyful and it's, all of the positive things that it should be.
yeah, 100%. And also, it's that whole thing where, it's like thinking that you know what you're gonna like.
Mm.
So I'll give you an example. So this dress, actually, it looks amazing.
I
But
love it.
when I had it made and I got shown the dress, I went nuts. I was like, no. And it wasn't to do with the color, it was to do with the material.
Ah.
There's certain textures that I don't believe suit me. And as a bigger woman, I'm very much sort of like certain things need to be a certain way.
Mm.
Like I just feel like there's certain materials that suit different people, and I probably still stand by it. But actually, because I don't know if you can see it, but it's got lines. It's got lines.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I hadn't noticed
Yeah,
that.
it's got lines down. So from here, it looks a bit silky. But if you do it, it's got lines.
So it's like ribbed.
Ribbed, that's the word, ribbed.
Yeah.
I don't like ribs at all. If you had to ask me to choose ribs, but it's ribbed, I went nuts. I was like, no, no, no. And then I put it on when it came, because it came all the way from Africa. And when I put it on, I was like, oh, it's okay. And my mom was like, I thought you didn't like it. I was like, can you just pass on my apologies, please?
Yeah.
Luckily, I didn't whinge to the dressmaker herself, but I was just like, I whinged to my mom a lot. But again, it's just an example that something that you don't think will suit you will always suit you. I'm actually just
Mm.
gonna. What's come to my mind is if you ever have a panel about dressing and confidence, I'd love to be part of it.
Oh yeah, I'd love that. Definitely. I mean, it's so good to have. I think yours is such a unique perspective as well because there aren't many women that I know that get things made, specifically for them and pick out the fabrics, and that's a very unique perspective to
Mm.
have. So I think that would be amazing.
But you guys, all you need to do is ask. You don't ask, you don't get. So, another question I want to ask is: has there been a moment where um, your work has changed somebody's style for good, and their behaviors have changed as well?
Mm. Yeah, I mean, it happens quite a lot, especially because people do tend to come to me when they are going through, some kind of evolution or transition in their life. Um, I've got one client in particular who still works with me now, and I think we first started working together about 5 years ago, and she was and still is going through the menopause and was really low in confidence and had such a kind of bland wardrobe that she just didn't feel good about. Her body shape had changed a lot. So
Yeah.
she was really lacking in confidence around the way that she looked. And um, she just wasn't in a particularly great place, but she knew that having some support with her style and with her wardrobe would be something that would, lift her up because it was something that she used to get a lot of enjoyment out of, but she just felt like she'd really lost herself. So we worked together and kind of worked through my signature process, and she's just like unrecognizable now. The way that she dresses, the way that she takes up space, like she really, one of her friends who I know quite well as well, she said to me about her that there's just this like inside out glow,
Mm.
because she feels like herself, but she feels like, without sounding cliche, like the best version of herself.
Mm.
And she's embracing color and she's embracing like print and things that she never ever would have tried herself because she was stuck in that rut of being invisible and just going for things that would mean that people wouldn't pay attention to her and her changing body and all of that kind of thing. Um, so it's had a really transformative impact on the way that she's showing up and therefore, the opportunities that she's getting. And I think it impacts all areas of our lives, like even our relationships, which I think is something one of the Style Trailblazers touched on at the event as well, which is a really unexpected
Yeah.
bonus, if you like.
Yeah. Oh dear. So yeah, because I mean, God, the I can't help but keep on going back to the buffet of women that were there. I mean, we had somebody who'd never, I don't think she'd ever worn a dress or something and stuff, or ever really dressed beyond black and jeans. There was somebody who was a breast cancer survivor who I didn't know was a breast cancer survivor. There were just people who you just like, wow, 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 wow. And
Mm.
they were coming at it from different perspectives,
Mm.
which is just incredible. So I have a question for you around if somebody has or is listening to this right now and they feel lost and they don't feel as if they've got an identity, like where should they start when it comes to wardrobe, image, and even emotional clarity?
So I think I actually did a podcast episode on this topic recently about using the past, present, future strategy with your style. So thinking about what did I really love and what did I really enjoy as a child or as a teenager or whatever time frame you want to go back to. Because often we have things that we've kind of lost along the way because it was deemed as inappropriate or it was somebody said something about something we were wearing and we held on to it.
Mm.
And I saw it as part of this process with the Style Trailblazers. A lot of that was to do with colour. And it was kind of fear of judgment around colour is one that comes up a lot. So I think the more we can reconnect with elements of the past that really brought us joy, whether that is colour or whether it's a detail, like, maybe you were really tomboyish as a child or you were really feminine as a child or whatever it is. And then in the present, what do I need to let go of that, really doesn't serve me, really doesn't bring me joy? And then who am I wanting to be in the future? Who's the, woman that I'm becoming in the future? What's my vision for kind of how she shows up and how she dresses? Is it more bold? Is it more feminine? Is it more colourful? Whatever it is. And how can I just bring in some small elements of that and kind of build my confidence with it, because it is a process. It's not just like you click your fingers and you're transformed. You have to build your confidence with it.
Mhm.
So sometimes it can just be about recognizing, what do I want to reclaim from the past? What do I want to release in the present? And what do I want to step into, like, for the future? And I think when we can look at it in that way and really reconnect with what lights us up and what brings us joy, that's a really great foundation to start with. And then there's obviously lots of other tools that can come in, like, using Pinterest and, building a board of things that you love and then kind of picking apart the details that come up. And you'll really start to see the patterns of what you're drawn to and why you're drawn to it. And think stylist tools that I use, like, color analysis and things like that, are brilliant. But I think from a very foundational point of view, it's just, really reconnecting with what you love.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like as you were speaking, I mean, I didn't start off wearing dresses that were made for me in this way, not in this way anyway. My mum would argue this and go, "Yeah, but I used to sew for you as a child." She did, but not in this fashion. And
Mm,
as soon as it was almost like a calling. Like before I knew it, I was ordering the clothes, but I had to try things. And one of the things that I know that I like is that I like big sleeves. I
no.
love big sleeves. As a bigger woman, I'm not conscious of my arms, but I know it's easier for me to choose clothes if the arms are covered, but they're not tight. I
Mm,
also know
more
that wide neck,
comfort.
yeah, and wide necks as well. So a lot of my dresses are wide necks. Like I like them, they suit me. I like to show off my neck and stuff. So I think for everyone, it doesn't just happen overnight.
No,
It's almost like leaning into it and just allowing yourself to experience and know that sometimes you're not going to
definitely.
get it right,
Mm,
and that if you don't get it right, it's not the end of the world, that you can just
yeah.
change that and what have you, and try colors as well. So, I'm a green, dark blue girl. I'll rarely wear red, but if I wear red, it's rare, but actually it's not a lot of people like me in red. but it's not something that I lean to all the time. So it's just about
Mm.
trialing and going, do you know what? Even if I don't like this color, I'm going to try it out and just see what happens because you might just walk past the window one day and go, oh, you look amazing, Victoria. And then,
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's that getting back that connection with that childlike joy of getting dressed. And this is something that Iris Apfel always used to talk about. Like, when did we lose that childlike joy? And it is in all of those shoulds and all the things that we think that we should be doing and that external validation. And if we can really reconnect with who we are and listen, like you said, to your intuition, um, you really can't go wrong with that and just, being yourself on purpose, essentially. And I think that's the most powerful thing that we can do. But in the process of getting to that point, you do have to experiment because otherwise you don't really know.
yeah,
We live such busy lives that we often aren't very, well connected with who we are and what we like.
mm,
So we do need to take some time to figure that out, and that is sometimes the kind of messy middle bit of experimenting, but you can't, I think it's that knowing that you can't really get it wrong.
yeah,
It's all just a process.
yeah. It's funny, over the weekend, I was reading in church and I I got to church and I sat on water that I'd spilt on my chair.
Oh no.
So, and I was actually wearing this dress. Um, and I sat on it, and obviously I had this massive wet patch on my bottom. I'm like, oh my God. Anyway, I leaned against the radiator. I picked up some dust from the radiator, which is why I'm wearing it today, because I'm like, I'm not wasting a dress. I'm going to wear it, film with it first, and then put it in the wash. But it made me think how many times, especially in corporates, where people feel like they need to dress in a certain way. And a lot of people end up going for darker colors, more conservative
Mm,
colors, because either they feel that's how they need to dress or the dresses are safer.
mm.
And I thought, do you know what? So what? I've dried it. I've sat by a radiator, dried it. It's not the end of the world. If I had to go in front of 100 people and speak, I'd make a joke about it and go, listen, I've not wet myself. Just, you know what I mean? And it breaks the ice and what have you.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes we limit ourselves from fear of what could happen,
Absolutely.
what might happen with dresses. What do you think?
Oh, 100%. I've had this conversation so much recently as well. I think it's maybe the universe is telling me that I need to talk about it more, but I think it's something I spoke to Sarah, who's one of the Style Trailblazers, about on her podcast episode because
Mm,
she's a embodied wealth coach, and we were talking about nervous system regulation and
yeah.
how unsafe it can feel to be visible and for various different reasons, and also to receive, wealth and to be in receiving, basically. And I've been talking about it quite a lot from the context of women being in male-dominated environments as well, and feeling it's not safe to dress in a feminine way, or it's not safe to dress in a bold way, or and it's so interesting that everything, seems to come back to that, nervous system regulation and and also being kind of unafraid to be who you are and show up authentically as well. And I think that's such a big part of style confidence.
100%, 100%. So finally, final question. You'll be glad to what's the biggest misconception that you wish people would finally let go when it comes to style and transformation?
I think the biggest thing for me, and it's almost been like a bit of a chip on my shoulder that I want to try and, change perceptions of, is that style is frivolous and it's meaningless and it's, materialistic to care about what we look like and to care about our clothes. Because I think that's more of a narrative that we've been sold by the patriarchy, basically, to keep us small and to keep us not in our power. And actually, style is a really powerful tool, and it can really support us from a well-being point of view, from a mental health perspective. It's something that we can lean on as a really accessible tool, especially things like color, to really support ourselves on a day-to-day basis. And it amplifies our confidence, our success, our impact if we let it, if we embrace it. So I think that's the biggest kind of misconception.
Love that. Are you advertising or promoting anything at the moment? What should we be aware of?
Um, I'm mainly just working on my one-to-one offers at the moment. So there's three different packages, like three different levels that I work with clients on one-to-one. And I'm really, really excited to have a year-round program package that I work with my clients on now, who the women that kind of need they lead very busy lives basically, and they need kind of daily, like weekly support with their style because they're showing up and getting quite visible, and they need their style to be a really important part of their strategy. So that's my style legacy experience, which is very exciting.
I love that. I was going to ask you about legacy, but you talked about your daughter and stuff. So I was like, oh, I'm not going to push back into legacy, but I love the fact that you have a legacy experience. So we'll put all your details at the bottom of the podcast so people know how to reach you. But Alex,
Thank you.
it has been beautiful to speak to you. Thanks so much for saying yes, and I'll speak to you soon.
It's been amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.